Perfect. Right. So most of you will know who I am now. If you don't, my name is Sara Tatam. I'm one of the senior sales executives here at Provident CRM. And we've started to do these sessions every quarter, each time Sugar do a release, so that I can show you guys some of the features and the enhancements, and show you them in real time on a demo environment. Because at the moment Sugar do the big release notes, so I thought this is a little bit easier to digest. So on the agenda today, we will be looking at the new updated user interface and some functionality around the reports module available in Sell and Serve. We will be looking at forecasting updates around opportunities and pipeline review for Sell, the improved readability of the emails, some integration enhancements. So I mentioned the native cloud drive last session, so there's just some extra features there. And then at the very end, just a couple of the feature enhancements on Sugar Market. So if you've got any questions whilst we're going through this, please just turn your mics on and ask. Feel free to interrupt, or we can have a few minutes at the end if you want to hold them to the end, or put them in the chat section. So not the Q&A, just stick everything in the chat section. I'll do my best to keep an eye on that as we move through. So we will go ahead and start with the first item on this agenda then. So the reports module. It's had a nice fresh new update. I'm going to go ahead now and open up Sugar to show you what it looks like if you've not already seen it. So we're going to be just looking at the updated user interface, the customizable views and what we can do there, and then how we can see the visual representation of the filters that are driving that report. So that worked. Excellent. You should now be able to see my SugarCRM screen. Okay, I'll assume you all can. If you can't, shout out. Thanks, Leticia. Okay, so to start off with then, looking at the reports. So I'm just here in the reports module. Okay, so there's lots of reports here. We're just going to go ahead and open this one. Straight away, hopefully, you'll see that the view is different. Okay, so we kind of have three dashlets here now, and we can reorder these. So this is the customizable view. So we can put that over there and then put these over here. So you can chop and change how you want the reports to display. So I'm just going to go ahead and whack that back up there. And I prefer the chart on the top there. Okay, and you can resize them. So you can have it very expanded or collapse it down. That's up to you. So the first thing here then is obviously the segmentation of the areas of the report. So you've got your chart here, and then we have the data table. So on the left-hand side, or wherever you may have this filters section, you'll notice that the runtime section, okay, so this is when you're building a report and you tick that runtime box, you're able to change the filter on the fly, it just looks like this now. So we have a couple of features here. So we have the advanced filters. So the advanced filters is something you can't edit here because this is visualization is read only. So this is all filters that do not have the runtime section. So you can basically see, we've got show me all leads created this year, which is a runtime. However, the status needs to be one of these. That's not runtime. Okay, so that means that's locked in. What you can do now, and Sugar have added a very quick button here, is we can go to the three dots at the top and we can go edit filters. It takes us straight to the edit filter page. We can go ahead and say, right, let's now make that a runtime, hit save and run, and then we're back to the report, and you'll now be able to see I can go ahead and use this as a runtime section as well. So that's the first part, the new reports module, user interface and panels. Feel free to interrupt me with any questions, but we will move to the next slide. Just to let you know, guys, this is going to be a fairly quick session today. There's not a huge amount. So, we're not going to be on here for like an hour like we were the very first one. So it's, it's going to be a fairly quick session, but hopefully informative. Right, next is the forecasting updates. Okay, so this has got quite a bit involved here, which again I'll pull up the Sugar demo and run through them. So on the forecasting updates for Sugar Sales, so this is if you're using the forecasting module. We've got some additional features around pipeline review within the forecasting module. We're now forecasting at opportunity level, okay, so not revenue line item. So you've got your opportunities, and then your revenue line items are the individual items that make up the opportunity. So we are now forecasting at opportunity level, okay, which, you know, to me it feels much better. It makes more sense. We can now customize the layout, so I'll go ahead and show you that, as well as looking at all reportees opportunities in one single view. We've got some metrics here that we'll take a look at, and then an additional field which is now available in the opportunities module. So we'll have a quick look at that now. So we'll just start off by going to the opportunities. Let me just expand out the meeting. Okay, there's no questions there at the moment. Perfect. Okay, so we will go to this opportunity here. What we can see first, if I show you the new field here called Lost. So when you do get upgraded to this version of Sugar, if you're not already there, if you go to Admin Studio and then go to the layout on the opportunity module, this field will be hidden. Just drag it onto view and it will start to work. So what we can see is I've got an opportunity at the moment that's in progress. We can see the total amount is here. At the moment, the lost is 0.00. That's because we haven't lost it yet. But if I go down and we mark all of these revenue line items now to close lost, I'm still working in the old way here. I can do this all in one go, but it's just a creature of habit here. So I'm going to mark all of these to close lost. Boom. And then what we can see is we haven't won, but now we're capturing the total value of opportunities that we've lost, okay, which at the moment Sugar doesn't do. So really happy that that's there. So you can now build a report to say, show me all of the opportunities we've had this year. Out of those, show me the ones we've lost, group it by month, and then total the revenue by month if you wanted to, or why we lost it, or who we lost it to, and how much of, you know, the total amount we did lose to a competitor or something. So you can now build lots of reports around that. Okay, so the next section was on the forecasting updates. So if we go to the forecast module, okay, so hopefully you can see that now. You'll now see we've got a couple of tabs here that weren't there before. So the first one being the opportunity review tab. So this basically contains a list of all assigned opportunities for the selected time period that you can now see in one single place. And you'll also be able to see they won't just be your opportunities, they'll also be your team members' opportunities. So if you are a manager and you have users reporting into you, that's whose opportunities you're going to see here, yours and your team's. At the very top, we now have these metrics. Okay, so very quick glances so you can see what's included in a pipeline, excluded from the pipeline. So if you're not too familiar with the forecast module, it basically has some defaults as to what would be included or excluded. So for example, opportunities that are under a 60% probability are default excluded. Okay, and that's all obviously configurable in the admin section, but that's what you can see that we're working on them, but we're, you know, under a 60% probability here. What we've won, what we've lost now, so we can see the total amount, what we've lost, and then obviously everything all together. Okay, so we can also, and what you'll also notice is this is just the opportunity. So this is no longer looking at individual revenue line items. This opportunity might have 10 revenue line items. This opportunity might have 1. But again, using the focus drawers, if we hop in, we can then start to see all of the specifics that make up that opportunity as well. So we can now customize this view here. So we've now got, you know, the ability to add in any additional columns that we'd like to see. Specifically, Sugar have included the ability to add in, you know, things like the prediction, the type fields, and the freeze column section. So as you can see, as I'm scrolling, the left column is frozen. That was in the last update, so it's good to see that in action as well. Okay, so we've checked out the opportunity, view all reports, forecast and pipeline metrics. Perfect. That was everything on that slide. Any questions so far, anyone? If there's just silence, I will continue. Thanks. Okay, now this one has to be one of my, I know it's so simple, but it's probably one of my favorites in the release. So the improved email readability for both sell and serve. So whenever you're looking at a contact and you click on the little focus drawer to open up the email, the body of the email, the text, the box there is so small. You have to expand it out or do loads of little scrolls to read the email, but you don't have to do that anymore. So this one I'm quite excited about. So if I just go and show you an example of that, I'll just go to this company here. So from the emails subpanel here, or from the emails module, if we now click on this focus drawer will open and show you everything on this record. Obviously, this is a very small email, but as you can see, the dashlet itself is rather large. We can obviously resize it, but I think this is a good size. So if we had a really long email here, it would, just show you that the whole body of that email without, I think it must have been about an inch before. So we can see all of that email just like on the screenshot I've showed you here. So that one I'm pretty thrilled about. Perfect. Okay. Next, the integration enhancements. So if you were on the last Lunch and Learn, or if you've watched the video, you would have seen that Sugar have included now a native cloud drive integration. So, at the moment it includes OneDrive and Google Drive or Google Drive. But what they've done for this release is they've now included Dropbox. Okay, so using the native Sugar Dashlet to integrate, your cloud drives, Dropbox, OneDrive, and Google are now included in those. So if you're using those for storage of documents, you can then start to use those within Sugar using the cloud drive dashlet, which you will see in the available dashlet panels on the sidebars or on your dashboard, etc. I think I also spoke about the DocuSign integration last time. Small update here is the users will now receive status alerts. So in the notification center in Sugar, whenever anybody opens a DocuSign envelope, signs it, or anything that they can do, you will get a notification directly in Sugar to let you know of that. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we're very nearly at the end now. So we're just going on to the Sugar Market releases here. So I know some of you that have joined today are using Sugar Market. So I just wanted to run through some of the changes here. So the first one being updated UI. So they've updated the user interface for both the administration view and when editing distribution lists. So I do have a couple of screens to show you what those look like now, if you haven't already seen it. The managing and creating custom fields interface has also been redesigned in the admin section. There's been a new column added to the listener management page. So basically a type column for displaying the listener's type has now been added to the listener management page. So just to clarify, listeners, so listeners which are also referred to as event listeners and lead and contact listeners, they're basically a powerful tool that can be used to automate a sales and marketing process. So listeners basically act like a bridge between, the CRM and market. So as they check for contact records for new and updated values that you've obviously defined, and initiate actions such as adding a contact to a campaign or removing them from a list, so that the listeners type section there has been added, which should be very helpful. Dynamic schedule email campaign interface. So if you're using a 24-hour time format, Sugar Market can now schedule emails using a 24-hour time format. Additional include list requirements. So reports used as an include list in the email campaign must contain an email and contact ID column. So any reports that don't meet those requirements can't be used as an include list when you're sending your email campaign. So obviously when you're building a campaign, you've got the ability to add an exclude list and an include list. Nurture email send step improvement. So the nurture email send step has been improved to prevent infrequent racing conditions that allow records to proceed to the next step before the email is sent. So I can imagine that's a good update. You're all happy to hear. And internationalization, so SugarMarket now supports German, French, Spanish, Italian, Brazilian, Portuguese, and traditional Chinese. So just to show you some of those screenshots on the updated user interface, this is now the admin view. Okay, so each section is now got its own subheading, and when you click on user admin, it will just show you those relevant options for user admin. On the CRM administrator, field definitions, if we click on accounts and we want to go to create a new field, these are now the screens for the admin view in field creation in SugarMarket. So we click on create up here, and then it says, okay, what's the name of the field and what type of field is it to be? And then you go ahead and continue. And then the distribution list view in SugarMarket is now here. Okay, so that's the updated interface for that section. There's going to be a lot of changes coming to SugarMarket over the next few months, and specifically in January as well. So I'll be making sure I'm keeping a record of all of the enhancements that are coming out, and making sure, you know, that we include quite a lot of those on these sessions moving forward. And that is it. So that was extremely quick. So thank you for being online. Does anybody have any questions? Anything you want me to go through in a bit more detail? Anything you want to share with anyone else?
Sarah, are you able to share the slides? Because I missed the first sort of 5 minutes or so.
Sure, James, no worries. So the slides and the recording will be emailed to you. So you've got the recording in case you want to share it with anybody else or go through it.
That'd be great, thank you.
No, you're welcome. Anyone else? If not, we can all go. Okay, well, thanks for joining, and look out for the next one, Q4 releases. As soon as I've got more information on that, I'll start putting some information together and we'll get that one in the calendar. And by all means, if you know, I know a few of you have attended a few of these sessions now. By all means, if you want to provide any feedback on anything that you think I should include, anything that would be more helpful, please, I'm all open for feedback. I want to make these sessions, you know, as useful for you guys as possible.
Great, thank you.
No, you're welcome. Have a good afternoon. Speak to you soon.
Take care, bye-bye.
Thanks so
Bye.
much.